Hey, what's up? Thanks for joining me. Just a quick video now. Uh, I think this would be perhaps my second video on this topic, and it's only because I am seeing a lot of talk, a lot of people in the sport discussing this topic, and yeah, I'm not sure if I've actually uploaded a video specific on this, but I may have discussed it in the past. Um, so the topic of this video is going to be fighting and age, right? So more specifically, um, this whole notion that if you are an older fighter, you're at a disadvantage. And yes, that is in theory, in a very basic sense, it is correct. If you're older, you're at a disadvantage in you know, physical sport, certainly. But I feel like it's one of these rules or one of these things that have been applied and abused too much in conversation. Let me let me be more specific about what I'm talking about, right? So I think weekend after this weekend, there's going to be the big three championship fight, the stacked card with Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz. And in the undercard, there's going to be Dominic Cruz versus I don't know, some up and comer, Kentucky Fried Chicken or something. Anyway, Dominic Cruz, right? I mean, even casuals will know who Dominic Cruz is. He's, a former champion. He's I would say almost you know, a future Hall of Famer. He's also a regular commentator, fight commentator, and excellent fighter with a unique style, right? So Dominic Cruz. And I'm hearing this talk like from who was it? Someone was saying, I can't remember who. I think it might have been Bisbing, Michael Bisbing, or Bisbing. Who else was it? Well, someone said something like, Dominic Cruz is old. He's past his prime. And I was like, what the hell, dude? Dominic Cruz is not old. And if we look at him, he might not be as active, certainly not as active as he used to be, but he's not old. The guy he was born in 1985, 2 years older than me, he's 35, right? So, I mean, sure, he's on the older side, um, but to say that he's past his prime, I feel like people just, they throw these kind of statements around so easily, you know, and they have this kind of window in terms of age, like, oh, okay, 35, you're past your prime. I don't agree completely, and it's such an immature uh thing to say. Dominic Cruz has, I mean, if we talk about fighter longevity, right? The amount of damage a fighter takes is finite, right? But that amount is not the same for everyone. Okay. So we're talking about a scale that is person specific and almost unique to each person. Um, so really, fighter longevity is the whole topic of it is really wishy-washy and impossible to really agree on topic. It's so easy to apply your opinion on that. But anyway, I digress. if we talk about that, the guy's 22 wins and 3 losses. He's taken, I would say, in his career, he's probably taken very little damage compared to the average fighter, just from his style alone, right? So fighter longevity, I think he's all right. Meaning, I think he hasn't taken too many uh, huge shots to the head to affect him mentally. I don't think he's gone through so many injuries that, he's broken to a point that he can't really perform at an optimum level, or he's performing at a sub-optimum level, right? No, I wouldn't say that about Dominic Cruz either. So the people saying or um, implying that he's like an old fighter and past his prime, look, man, I get your point. He's been around the scene for a while. 22 and 3 is considered very experienced, like veteran, like even past veteran, right? Fighter, like super experienced fighter, I would say. 25 fights. Um, sure, I get that, but though those statements are just, they're just, I don't want to say ignorant. That's the word I'm thinking of, but it's just like badly thought of, let's say. It's not well thought of information. And I guess I'm a little touchy about this subject because certainly age is something that's on my mind. I mean, having uh, entered this sport late, and some people, especially the ones saying things like this, would say too late or very late, right? But I mean, it's kind of like I don't know what the standard is, and there is no really standard that I can agree to as to like what is the age. I mean, look at me, for example, in my case, I'm obviously I've fought people on, as a civilian before. I've been in fights. I've taken shots to the head, but obviously nowhere near as much as maybe an amateur fighter would at the same age. Let's say someone who's been doing amateur fighting for 3 or 4 years, doing martial arts since they were very young, in a serious sense. In comparison, that person would have taken a lot more damage than I have. I would imagine if we compare ourselves at like 25, right? Um, Now after that, I mean, you know, I didn't, as I grew older, get into as much fights as I used to, but I would sort of continue practicing what I know with regards to fighting. And I didn't have any serious, significant martial arts training, but I've trained, as a young kid, I've done a bunch of different things in school too, with friends. Yeah, and I've been a fan of fight sports since I was very young, and always emulating these things with my brother and cousins and friends. And, but still, you add all that up, and it's still nothing, right? So, I mean, if I have my unique longevity scale, right? If you think about a life bar in Tekken, that's my longevity. How much is that has been used from age and from all the physical damage I've taken through my life? I mean, compared to a fighter like, anyone, even uh, Dominic Cruz, it's nothing. It's a fraction, right? So, okay, if I go into fighting, if I do make a name for myself, and if I ever appear on anyone's fight show, like Bisping um, or Big John's show or whoever, right? Surely they will say the same thing about me without even considering that, hey, this guy started really late. So, I mean, he might not have, he might have a body that's maybe not ideal in terms of stamina, in terms of, I don't know what that would be at that point, but he, not a lot of people will really consider that, and that's something that I think is overlooked There's a lot of fighters that were very successful that started a little late. Volkanovski started a little late. Who else? Obviously, Couture, Randy Couture. Just for my reference here, Randy Couture, right? So if you look at his first professional fight on here, it was what, UFC? Hmm. Yeah, his first professional fight was UFC. That was in 1997, May. He was born 1963, so he was already 35 in his first fight. And he had, I would say, what he 1997 was his first fight. His last fight was 2011. So he had what's my math? 14, más o menos, more or less. 14-year career. And very notable, right? For the time, he made a very big name for himself. Although, if you really look at his record, it's not that impressive. In the start, it was, and I think he won the championship twice or thrice. Anyway, you can't deny he's one of the greats. He's a legend of the sport, and yeah, I mean, I hopefully will start earlier than him. I mean, I don't think I'll be in the UFC by 35, but at the same, like, I kind of use this as my as a good argument. Like, and look, Randy Couture is a wrestler. He's probably taken much more damage than I have at this point. Um, so yeah. Look, this is just the first of many arguments I'm going to come out with on this topic. Other things I wanted to address as well, and I don't want this video to drag on too long, but there's another thing about Khabib. He had a video in RT Sport. He was talking about George St. Pierre not being able to go back to his prime, and he's way past it. And I might agree with that. And I won't get into why, but there's a certain unique set of factors, and it's not just the age. It's not just how old GSP is. Um, but I might have my opinion that agrees with Khabib for different reasons, but we could both be wrong. GSP could come back and destroy the next guy he fights if he decides to do another fight, whether it's Khabib or Kamaru Usman. If those things ever happen, I doubt it, but whatever, right? I mean, he could do that. That's not out of this world to imagine. Um, yeah. Khabib was saying the same thing for Tony Ferguson, right? He never considered Tony Ferguson to be one of the elite of the division because he's too old or something like that. And he's like, oh, he lost his last two fights, or three fights. Fair enough. Maybe there's also a unique set of arguments for Tony Ferguson, and I haven't thought about it as much as GSP, but it's not the same situation. Obviously, it's not going to be a case of how old is GSP, how old is Ferguson, and oh yeah, they're past this number, so yeah, that's right. It's not that simple. Um, but I feel like people need to kind of be a little more cautious because I don't know if people hear those things and kind of agree with what they hear, because it's so easy to dismiss fighters that way. I wouldn't dismiss Tony Ferguson coming back, making changes to his camps, his training, his lifestyle that could, create this second wind for his career where he can, you know, maybe go for another shot at the gold. That's totally possible, man. Don't count him out. GSP might be easier to count him out, but at the same time, like I said, he could come back and whoop the shit out of some. current top fighter. That's very easy to imagine. Um, so like I said, I mean, these kind of things coming out where people are talking and uh there were other things that I just don't remember. But once I do, I'll post arguments about it. I might post more about this topic soon if I do hear more stuff about it. If I do come up with more arguments myself. Um, but yeah, fighters and age, I mean, that's a very murky area. I wouldn't really get into it, but I will agree to the very basic concept that sure, as a younger person, you are physically more capable than an older person, than the older version of yourself is. Like what I'm trying to say is, if you're 40, you could probably compare yourself to 18, and the 18-year-old person could lift more and run more and do more and all that. That's the concept we're all used to. But I mean, life's just not that simple, right? I mean, anyway, I forgot the point I was if I was if I even had a point to make there in the end, but I guess I would one thing also is genes, man. Genes is such a big factor. Think about like like I think about my grandfather, right? He's almost 100 years old, and think about the people at 70 that you hear about that are super sick and that are in their mid 70s and they can't even stand up, for whatever reason. Many people die at that age, but this guy is strong. Well, he looks like 100, like like the upper 90s, 100-year-old person. Not really. Well, I wouldn't even say that. You wouldn't guess it. But if you knew it, it wouldn't be so unbelievable if you looked at him. Like, he's not really doing crazy shit like push-ups or anything, but his genes, right? Those are crazy genes. You got people at 50 who are already like taking all this different procedures every month just to keep them alive and all taking pills for maintenance at 50, like getting dialysis. I mean, dude, there's, that's another factor that you gotta really consider. I mean, some people are born to really take and do physical things, others aren't. And I bet what we see in the fight world is a mix. I mean, there's really no way to say, hey, you're a certified physical guy, you know? Like whoever we see in fighting it, you could only kind of tell, like, wow, this guy's tough. He's had so many fights and he's still tough. And these are just signs of that, right? But anyway, um, I guess this video is also me venting about this topic. It's become a pet peeve of mine where, I hear people like talk about people being past their prime and I turn the volume up and I stop everything. I'm like listening and what's this person's argument? And because I want to see if, it's I guess it's important to me is like if someone makes an argument like boom, Alfonso, like what are you doing? Maybe that will happen or you know but really so far all the age arguments I've heard and people being passive prime is just all crap. I mean, I'm sure there's some intelligence behind it, but it's just people, like flapping their lips and fucking talking shit about things they don't know about. Yeah. So if you hear it, take it with a grain of salt. I would, you know, don't count people out so easily, is what I'm trying to say. Look at each fighter as a case to case situation. Don't just look at how old they are. and use that as a fixed statistic for or against the fighter, because that's not a really intelligent way to measure a fighter. Um, yeah, that's what I wanted to post about. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Please like the video and comment if you have anything to say. That would be much appreciated. Yeah, I'll be posting more videos throughout the weekend. Uh, Obviously, we have fight night happening. So there's a Rosenstrike versus Gahn. That's going to be an awesome fight. I'm leaning towards, whew, I couldn't tell you, but I think I'm going to put a little bit of money on Rosenstruck just because he's an underdog with my betting platform, and he does have, I think, a chance to knock out Gahn. I think he can knock anyone out in the division, honestly. Um, but Gahn is so talented. I'm not going to get any deeper into this one. I'll have a video uploaded dedicated to that topic. I won't be doing a Friday fight cast. Those will be I changed my plans for Friday fight cast. Those will be specific for big sort of fight weekends. This weekend is sort of a big fight weekend with boxing at least. I mean, there's a Canelo fight. Um, Tomorrow there's Joseph Parker versus Junior Fa. And tonight, Daniel Sardina versus Cesar Nunez. I'm gonna catch that probably after this, uploading this video. And then obviously there's a UFC. So yeah, it's a pretty big weekend for fight sports. I'm sure there's other things happening, but yeah, Bellator. I think no, I have to check that. Yeah, I'm pissed off because Bellator was removed from the zone since their Showtime deal. It's a bit annoying. I don't know if I'm going to get the Showtime app. Maybe I'll have to, just so I could, watch the Bellator. But anyway, yeah, thanks again, guys. And yeah, see you again soon. Bye.